The call came in at 10:17 on a Tuesday morning, right as I was reviewing blueprints for a $10 million boutique hotel project in Miami. My desk phone lit up. I didn't recognize the number, but I picked up anyway. Hey, is this Maya? The voice was sugary and smooth, but I knew who it was right away. Claire, my cousin Danny's high society bestie turned personal interior designer. Speaking, I said flatly. Oh, great. So sorry to bother you at work. She laughed, fake and fluttery. I just wanted to reach out about Danny's wedding next month. My stomach tightened. Okay, I said. Well, Claire exhaled, like this was hard for her. There have been a few adjustments to the guest list, and unfortunately, Danny wanted me to let you know you won't be attending the wedding in person. It's just, the guest list is very curated. Industry leaders, influencers, high-end clientele. The vibe is extremely specific. There was a pause. I didn't fill it. Claire went on. It's nothing personal. They just didn't want anyone who might feel out of place. I mean, it's all art world people, you know? Collectors, gallerists, fashion executives, super elite crowd. And Danny didn't want you to feel uncomfortable or anything. She actually said that. Uncomfortable. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Then came the kicker. Claire added, but the good news is you can still stream it virtually. No travel expenses, no need to buy a dress. It'll be just as beautiful on screen. I leaned back in my ergonomic chair, glancing out the floor-to-ceiling windows of my private office, 18 stories up in downtown Chicago. Mahogany desk, commissioned artwork on the walls, framed magazine spreads with my name on the cover. Claire continued. Also, I'm not sure if they ever got your updated info, but I think the family still thinks you're at that grocery store job, so maybe this is kind of a blessing in disguise. I mean, those events are exhausting when you don't know anyone, right? I bit down on the inside of my cheek, hard. Thanks for letting me know, I said calmly. Tell Danny I'll stay home. Oh, perfect. That's so gracious of you. Of course, I said. Wouldn't want to mess up the vibe. I hung up, then turned back to my computer. I had a design meeting in 15 minutes, but first I pulled up the rental agreement for Danny's venue, just to confirm what I already knew. I smiled. The building hosting the wedding? I owned it. I picked up my cell and dialed my mom. No hesitation, no pause, just straight to it. I knew if I didn't do it now, I'd let it stew. She picked up on the third ring. Hi, sweetie. Everything okay? Yeah, I said. Just talked to Claire. There was a pause, not long, but just enough to confirm she already knew why I was calling. Oh, right, she said carefully. She was supposed to reach out. So it's true? Another pause, then she sighed. Maya, it's not what it sounds like. It wasn't meant to hurt you. Just answer the question, I said. You all agreed I shouldn't be there? Mom's voice dropped a little. It was discussed. Danny's marrying into a very prominent family. The Sterlings collect art. They host events for the Museum of Modern Art. It's all very formal, very curated. She's under pressure, honey, to keep out her own family. She just didn't want anything to feel awkward, Mom said. Like that somehow made it better. You've always done your own thing. You've never really cared about that high society stuff. I stared at my office wall, framed plans from projects I'd led. Resorts, penthouses, award-winning builds. So, you just figured I'd understand. It wasn't personal, she said. You know how Danny is. She panics about appearances and, well, people still think you're working at that grocery store? I finished for her. Yeah, Claire made sure to repeat that part. I didn't know how to correct it, Mom admitted. You never really talk about what you do. I laughed under my breath. That's funny. I talk, you just don't listen. Maya, don't do this. No, let's do it, I said, sitting forward. Let's talk about how I covered Dad's back taxes 2 years ago, so the IRS wouldn't freeze your accounts, or how I got Danny that internship interview at the architecture firm she ghosted, or how I bought the family house from foreclosure and let you all stay in it rent-free. Silence. I didn't ask for recognition, I said, but I didn't expect to be erased. You weren't erased, Mom said weakly. We just thought it was for the best. For who? She didn't answer. I kept my voice even. Tell Danny I got the message. I won't come. Maya, wait. I hung up. No yelling, no guilt trip. Just done. Then I stood, walked over to the wall, and pressed my hand against the cold steel frame of the window. Below, the city looked like a blueprint. Precise, mapped out mine. They wanted me invisible? Fine. I'd disappear exactly the way they asked, and then I'd show them who they left out. I turned, grabbed my planner off the desk, and started flipping pages. Wedding date was locked in for 3 Saturdays from now. Plenty of time. I buzzed my assistant. Jamie, clear my 3 o'clock. I've got some personal business to handle. My voice didn't shake. Not once. I'd played quiet for years. Not anymore. I pulled up the rental agreement and scrolled through the details until I hit the line I was looking for. Venue, the loft at Crawford and main owner, Moreland Design Group. That was me. I'd bought the building 9 months ago, quietly, through the firm, through a holding company, all legit, just not loud. It used to be a warehouse. Now it was a restored industrial-style art space, with floor-to-ceiling glass, reclaimed brick, and gallery lighting that made everything look 10 times more expensive than it actually was. It was one of our flagship projects. A knock hit the door. Jamie stepped in holding a stack of plans. Hey, Maya, updates on the Benton project. Want to go over them now, or? Bring those in, I said. But I need something first. She walked over, set the files down, and raised an eyebrow. What's up? I need a full guest list for Danny Carter's wedding. Get it from the planner or from social. Then cross-check every name with our firm's past and present client list. I want a breakdown of who knows me by name, face, or company. Jamie didn't flinch. Timeline? 2 days, tops. She nodded. What's this for? I'm planning a reveal, I said. A very visual one. Jamie's lips curved into the smallest smile. Sounds like it'll be fun. It will. I tapped my desk. Also, loop in Dominic. Tell him I need the full ops team prepped for Saturday night. Under what label? High-profile shoot, I said. No extra details yet. Just make sure the team's tight, gear is polished, and everyone's cleared. Jamie grabbed her phone and started tapping notes without another word. That's what I liked about her. No nosy questions, just clean execution. After she left, I buzzed Dominic, our in-house photographer and design documentarian. Dom, I need you available Saturday night. For what? You're shooting a wedding. He paused. Hours? I smirked. No, but I own the place. And I want clean footage, not of the bride, of the crowd, close-ups, reaction shots, everything. Studio level, he chuckled. Got it. This one's personal? You could say that. The next 3 days moved fast. While Jamie built spreadsheets and Dom prepped his team, I reviewed lighting specs, adjusted floor plans, added extra signage for the Moreland Design watermark. Subtle, but placed where no one could miss it if they were paying attention. I had the building deep cleaned. Had our staging crew restyle the upstairs lounge with high-end pieces from the Italian collection we'd just launched. Even had the exterior power washed and relit with uplighting that made the brick glow like gold at night. Everything had to speak. Every detail had to say something. I wasn't just showing up. I was making damn sure they knew exactly where they were standing. And who put them there? Saturday came fast. I got dressed slow. Black tailored suit, sharp shoulders, subtle gold buttons. Custom made by a Paris label I helped bring stateside last year. My name wasn't on the paperwork, but my investment made the launch possible. The fabric fit like it already knew my body. Power without a single word spoken. I tied my hair back, slid on a slim gold watch, and skipped makeup. I wasn't trying to blend in. I was there to be seen, when I chose to be. By 5:30, I was at the venue. Front doors were closed to guests until 6, but I came through the private service entrance and took the elevator to the top floor, the operations office. From there, I had a full digital view of every room, every hallway, every person who stepped through the front. The setup was perfect. My event team had gone all out. Soft, minimalist florals, polished concrete floors glowing under layered lighting. Warm white tones with muted greens. Elegant, expensive, modern. The kind of place that made even rich people stand up straighter. Guests started arriving just after 6. Black cars, velvet dresses, expensive shoes that had never touched a sidewalk. Through the feed, I spotted 3 former clients from our New York project, a museum director, a fashion VP, and a hotel mogul's wife, all air-kissing near the hors d'oeuvres table like they hadn't made each other cry in boardrooms. Then I saw my family. Mom and Dad came in together, my uncle trailing behind, already red-faced. My aunt had on too much perfume. They smiled like they'd been part of every decision, like they belonged here naturally. I leaned closer to the monitor when Danny walked in. She looked gorgeous. I'll give her that. Ivory silk dress, clean lines, hair slicked into some artfully messy twist. She did the slow bride entrance down the center of the gallery while everyone clapped, and her new husband waited with that bland, rich boy grin on his face, like the wedding was just another gala. No tension, no guilt, like I'd never existed. I took a sip of my tea, chamomile with a splash of lemon, and watched it all unfold like it was a stage play. Every person in that room had been carefully picked, carefully placed. They just didn't realize who'd built the damn theater. I pulled out my phone and called Felix. He answered immediately. "We're ready." "Go ahead with the file drop," I said. "Make it formal." "Copy that." I hung up and leaned back in my chair. Let the truth land where it lands. On the security feed, I watched Felix cut across the gallery floor like he belonged there. Slim black suit, earpiece in, face calm. He carried the folder in both hands, matte black, sealed, no logo. He stopped at the edge of the planner's staging zone, where my uncle was chatting up some guy with a Rolex and an ego problem. "Excuse me," Felix said. "This is urgent." The planner turned fast. "What's going on?" Felix held out the folder. This was requested for immediate delivery to the event coordinator and the bride's family. Documents related to building ownership and company authorization. Her face lost color. My uncle blinked, confused, and took the folder. Felix added, "You'll want to read the letter first." Then he stepped back and disappeared into the crowd like it was just another handoff. I leaned closer to the screen. The planner was already flipping the folder open. My uncle looked over her shoulder. The deed was on top, clean, crisp, printed on official letterhead. Moreland Design Group founder and CEO, Maya J. Carter. The planner's mouth dropped. My uncle squinted at the name, then froze. Danny came over, her dress trailing behind her, and took the folder straight out of their hands. She flipped to the letter. I knew exactly what it said. I'd written it myself, to the bride, groom, and guests. "Welcome to the loft at Crawford and Maine, a space I personally designed, funded, and built to elevate bold ideas and connect creative minds. It's a pleasure to host you all tonight. Enjoy the venue. Warm regards, Maya Carter, founder and CEO." Danny's eyes scanned the page. Her mouth didn't move, but her expression changed in slow motion, from confusion to realization to disbelief. Someone beside her leaned in. "What's going on?" The planner stammered. I didn't know. No one told me. We booked through an events firm." My uncle whispered something, but Danny wasn't listening. She turned to the crowd just as another guest walked up, peeking at the papers in her hand. "You know Maya?" the woman asked. "Wait, she's that Maya?" Another voice piped up behind her. "You mean the one from the Seattle gallery build? I heard she owns this venue." Whispers started to spread like a slow, careful fire. "You're kidding. The architect? She's related to the bride? That's her building?" I watched Danny's hands tremble. She looked around like the room had suddenly flipped upside down. For the first time all night, I saw it hit her. This wasn't just a space. It was mine. And everyone was starting to realize it. The planner was still stammering when I saw her. Julia Morgan, editor-in-chief of North Point Design Quarterly, strutted up in 5-inch heels and a silk jumpsuit, drink in hand, oblivious to the tension. She stopped at the table with Danny, her fiancé, and my uncle still huddled around the folder. "Oh my God, I love this space," she said, setting her glass down. "I worked with Maya Carter last year on my studio build. This is totally her style. She does that custom blend of post-industrial and soft texture better than anyone else." Danny looked up, frozen. The planner blinked. "You know her?" Julia laughed. "Of course I know her. Half the gallery scene knows her. She designed the Modern Threads showroom and the Delta Foundation's entire West Coast wing. Total genius and scary efficient." Danny's fiancé cleared his throat. You're talking about Maya Carter?" "Yeah. Why?" A younger guy near the drink station overheard and leaned over. "Wait, Maya's here? I didn't know she was related to the bride. I interned at her firm. She mentored me last year." That did it. The buzz rolled through the room. Fast this time. Heads turned, people whispered louder, not even trying to hide it anymore. "She's the one who restored the Ward building, right?" "No way. You think that's really her venue? Why didn't they invite her?" Danny's fiancé went pale. His eyes scanned the crowd, then dropped to the black folder on the table like it might explode. I saw it all from the security feed. I waited until I felt it ripple. That exact moment when everyone knew something was off but hadn't seen the full picture yet. Then I stood up, smoothed my jacket, and headed for the elevator. When the doors opened at the main floor, all I heard was quiet. That kind of crowded, echoing silence where people pretend they're not looking. But they absolutely are. I stepped onto the gallery floor calmly. No drama, no announcement. Just walked in like I belonged. Because I did. Someone near the entrance turned and said, "That's her." A woman I barely remembered from a tech firm project greeted me first. "Maya, you look amazing. I didn't know you were connected to the bride." Another guest stepped in front of her. "Hey, we met at the Napa fundraiser. I was on the board. You did the design for our pavilion, right?" Then a hug, a handshake, another hello. One man even raised his glass slightly and nodded. Every smile, every greeting was genuine. I didn't need to force it. These people knew me. I kept walking. Through the soft lighting and imported florals, past the floating candle arrangements I personally approved. Every step was measured, controlled. I wasn't angry. I was present. I reached the head table and stopped. My mom turned, her mouth open like she'd just seen a ghost. My dad blinked hard. My uncle looked like he wanted to crawl under his seat. Danny didn't move. She just stared at me, eyes wide, hands still gripping the folder, like letting go would make the whole thing collapse. I looked right at her, then at the room. This was mine. And now, they all knew it. I looked straight at Danny. No smile, no attitude, just steady. "You look stunning," I said. She blinked. Thank you, I didn't." Her voice caught. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" I didn't hesitate. No one asked. The wedding planner, standing a few feet away, looked like she was praying for a fire drill. Her eyes darted toward the exits, fingers twitching at her clipboard. My uncle rubbed the back of his neck like it might reset the moment. He stepped forward. "Maya, look, I think there's been a misunderstanding here." "There's no misunderstanding," I said. "I bought this building. I designed it. I built the team that made it what it is. And I chose not to say a word about it." He opened his mouth, then shut it. I turned back to Danny. "You made a guest list based on who you thought mattered, who you thought was impressive enough for a room like this. And somehow I didn't make the cut." She swallowed hard. I didn't mean for it to be like this." "You meant to curate your moment," I said. "And you did. You curated it so carefully, you forgot the one person who helped you land your first internship. You remember that? The one you ghosted?" Her eyes dropped to the floor. I glanced around at the table. "You all still think I stock shelves at a grocery store?" My uncle shook his head. "That wasn't meant to insult you. But it did. And you all let that version of me stay in circulation because it made things easier. For you." I stepped back slightly, giving them space to squirm in it. "I built this company quietly. I didn't post about it, didn't flaunt it, didn't brag. Not because I was hiding, but because I wanted to be seen for who I was. Not what I own, not what I wear, just me." The guests around us pretended not to listen, but the silence said everything. I nodded toward the walls. "This venue? It's not just a building. I designed it to be a space for connection, community, a place where people could build something together, where stories mattered more than money." Danny looked up at me slowly, her face softening. "I didn't know." "No," I said. "You didn't care enough to." Her fiancé had the decency to stay quiet. He didn't look me in the eye once. Then I saw movement from the corner of my vision. My mom. She stood, eyes glassy, and stepped closer. "Maya," she said softly, "we were wrong. I was wrong." She reached out and touched my hand. "You were always doing more than we could see. Her voice broke. "I didn't know how to ask. I thought if you wanted to talk about it, you would." I nodded but didn't smile. "Forgiveness starts with honesty, not after the fact praise, not when it's convenient." She nodded, tears running now. "Okay." Danny wiped her face, mascara smudging under her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said. "Really." I looked at her for a long second. No drama, just tired truth. "I'm not here to ruin your day," I said, "but I'm not disappearing either." I let the words settle. No one argued, no one dared. This wasn't revenge. This was reality catching up. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out the envelope. Clean, white, unmarked, no card. Just thick folded paper inside. The kind that meant something. I held it out to Danny. She hesitated, then took it with both hands like it might break. Her fingers were still shaking as she slid the flap open and pulled out the deed. Her eyes scanned the page once, then twice. She looked up slowly. This is a house. Her husband leaned over, reading. His jaw dropped. Wait, this is ours? I nodded once. Mid-century coastal, just outside Santa Barbara. Fully renovated, paid in full. It's yours. He blinked, stunned. You're giving us this? I was going to give it privately, I said, voice steady. But tonight called for clarity. A few guests nearby actually clapped. Soft, polite, awkward. One woman murmured, "That's incredible." I didn't look at them. I kept my eyes on Danny. She looked down at the paper again, lips parting like she wanted to speak, but no words came out. She pressed her hand to her chest like she needed to remind herself to breathe. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I didn't know." "Now you do," I said. Her husband looked completely thrown, like he was redoing his mental math on who I was in real time. He stepped back, gave Danny space. Probably the smartest thing he did all night. Danny finally met my eyes. Hers were full. "You didn't have to do this." "I know." More guests were watching now, some nodding, others whispering again. The energy had shifted. People weren't looking at me like a surprise anymore. They were looking at me like a fact, like something they should have known already. I turned toward my mom. She wiped her cheeks and mouthed something I couldn't make out. "Maybe, thank you." I nodded, then looked back at Danny. She clutched the envelope tight. "I'll take care of it," she said quietly. "We'll take care of it." I didn't answer right away. I just gave her a slow, tired smile. Not smug, not soft, just real. "You've got the keys," I said. "What you do with them is up to you." Then I stepped back and let the moment sit right where it landed. The crowd thinned out by 10. Most of the high-profile guests had already left, murmuring polite goodbyes, casting glances my way that said, "We'll be in touch." I waited until the last photographer packed up before I turned to my family. "Come on," I said. "Let me show you something." They followed me, Mom, Dad, Danny, my uncle, quieter now. Humble for once. I led them toward the east corridor, away from the main floor. The lighting was softer there, slower. "This hall's custom tile," I said, stepping onto the smooth mosaic. All hand-laid. Took the team 2 weeks. We kept the seams slightly uneven so the light hits it different depending on time of day. Dad looked down at the floor like it had just appeared under him. "I thought it was marble." "Nope. Recycled ceramic mixed with local limestone." We kept walking. I opened the next door and flicked on the switch. The space was small, a private gallery room with acoustic walls and a sunken floor. "Sound in here doesn't bounce," I said. "Every panel is layered. We tested it for spoken word, live cello, even a kids' choir." They stepped inside slowly. Even Mom looked impressed. She ran her hand along the wall, her mouth slightly open. I pointed to the ceiling. "Lighting came from a Norwegian company. We custom imported it. It shifts temperature based on the time of day. No glare, no harsh shadows. Perfect for art, film, or late-night events." Uncle Robert nodded like he understood, but his eyes were still wide. We moved on. I led them back to the front corridor, past the private lounge and storage rooms, until we reached the framed wall, the one I kept behind low glass. 12 feet wide, frosted border, filled edge to edge with press clippings, features, awards, and certificates, all with one name, Maya Carter. I stood back, let them take it in. Dad stepped forward first. He leaned in close to a framed article from Modern Architect Weekly. His mouth moved like he was reading it twice. "You really built all this," he said, still facing the wall. "I did." He turned around and looked at me like he'd never fully seen me before, not as his daughter, as someone who could make things real from nothing. Mom stepped up next. She touched the glass lightly with her fingertips. "Why didn't you tell us?" I looked her in the eye. "Because I needed to know who saw me as worthy without it." No one argued with that. Danny stood there, still holding the envelope against her side like she didn't want to let it go. She stared at the wall of my name, her mouth pressed into a line. Then she stepped forward and hugged me. No camera, no performance, just arms around me and a small, shaking breath against my shoulder. "I'm sorry," she whispered again. "Really?" This time, I believed it. And this time, I hugged her back. 3 months later, Danny called me out of nowhere. "We want to throw you a thank you event," she said, For everything. I leaned back in my chair. That's not necessary. She didn't miss a beat. I know. That's why it matters. The party was held the following Saturday at my firm's newest event space, a rooftop build in Lincoln Park with skyline views, modular seating, and a glass wall that opened like a garage door when the weather was right. My team handled everything: lighting, florals, catering, music. I didn't lift a finger. I showed up in a simple navy dress, hair down, no title badge, no speech planned. Didn't need one. The room was packed with people I knew: clients, friends, my project leads, even vendors we'd worked with since the beginning. My family came too, this time, on time, present, watching. Someone tapped a glass. A few guests stood. My old professor said I was the most grounded talent she'd ever taught. My assistant Jamie said I led by action, not ego. Then my mom stood up, holding a folded napkin in her hand like it gave her strength. She looked at me and said, "We didn't see you. Now we do." The room went quiet. Then Danny walked to the front. She wasn't in designer anything, just a dark green jumpsuit and flat shoes. Her voice was low but clear. "This is the woman who saved our family more than once," she said, "even when we didn't see it, even when we didn't deserve it." I felt everyone looking at me, waiting. I smiled, but I kept it steady. "Respect isn't given after the fact," I said. "It's earned and protected." There was silence, then applause. For the first time, I didn't just feel successful. I felt seen, on my terms, exactly how I built it.